The barbershop has always been, as they said, Cedric the Entertainer said in the movie, the black man's social club. And in barbershops, men talk a number of conversations. And then once upon a time, the barbershop was able to be that way because it was mostly men in there. And what we find out that most of these black men, like the young men we work with, have failed relationships in their lives. And even though they may have been 40, 50, and 60 years old, they had still issues from their teenage years that they never closed the door on or never got assistance on, and they put it away. And from there, you see the acting out, the walking away from families, the domestic violence at times. When it comes to healing, we can't heal others till we heal self.
Hey, shalom, shalom. It's your brother, Officer Yari. Today I got with me Officer Caleb. Hey, welcome to another edition of Barbershop Talk. Today we are in Renton, Washington. It's in King County. It's adjacent south to Seattle, Washington. And as you can see, it's nice and sunny. So welcome to sunny Seattle. Everybody thinks it's always raining. That's falsity. You can edit that. We're here in Renton, Washington. We're at Major League Barbershop. We're about to go in and see what they're talking about. We would just sit back like you guys always know. We will be a part of the crowd. And we're going to show how whatever's being spoke about is in the Bible. What you know?
Notice it's in the Bible. It's our job with the prophets of God. Everything that comes out, we must be able to go in the scriptures to show that it's in the scriptures.
Stay tuned. So the first question you asked was, why are we getting shot in the street if we the chosen people, right? Mm-hmm. Watch this. I'm going to tell you straight, it's because we chose not to keep our father's rules. We chose to be disobedient to our daddy. All right, grab that in Deuteronomy 28. We chose to go against our daddy. That's why. So a big question is, well, who are the Israelites today? A lot of people don't even believe that the Israelites today are the blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. A lot of people don't even believe in that, you know. Christianity has did a number on us, unfortunately. So a lot of people don't even, or Catholicism, whichever you want to call it. A lot of people don't believe that the Israelites are the blacks, natives, and Latinos. Let's see what God told the Israelites through the mouth of Moses.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15.
Now we're in the fifth book of the Bible. It's Deuteronomy 28, right? So let's read the first chapter and the first verse of the fifth book of the Bible. Let's see what's going on, because now we're in the 28th chapter of this book. So let's see what's going on.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1, verse 1. Mm-hmm. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side Jordan in the wilderness, and the plain over against the Red Sea, between Paran, Tephel, and Laban, Hazeroth.
Go ahead, stop. That's all I needed. Just read that first part again. And this is for all of us too up in here. If society calls you guys black, native, or Latino, this is for all of us. Read.
These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this.
So Moses is speaking to all of Israel. And so this is some of what Moses told Israel. Go to chapter 28.
Okay. The book of Deuteronomy.
Wait, hold on. He's on the phone. Real loud. Oh, you off now?
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, okay, go. Read.
Okay, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So he told us, so today, another word that we use in our communities, instead of curses, we say we're in a certain condition. We say it's a condition that we live in, right? Right, Dominic? We say, well, we live in this certain condition, you know? We the last hired, the first fired, We always fall in ditches. We have to do so much to get ahead, right? We don't have the same privileges or advantages as the other nations do. So the Bible calls them curses.
You telling me this?
Huh?
You telling me this?
Well, I'm saying that's what the Bible says.
I'm here at work.
Well, I'm saying that's what the Bible says. Yeah, I'm speaking. The Bible. And I'm saying, right? Don't we say those things? So I was saying that. Yeah, we say, oh, these are these conditions that we live in, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, a lot of it are excuses, but these reasonings that we have are actually true. We do live in these conditions, though.
Okay, thank you for permission.
Say it again.
That's what you asked for permission. Permission.
You asked for permission.
We asked for permission, yeah.
Okay, we asked for permission, you said?
Yeah.
And that's very true. We do ask for permission. Because why? Because our nation is not represented in anything when it comes to making laws. We're not represented in the UN table.
What makes laws?
You see what I'm saying?
What makes laws?
You said who?
What makes laws?
What makes laws? Ideology. People's ideas.
What makes ideology?
People's ideas.
What makes ideology? I know what ideology is.
Okay, you
What
can
makes
explain it.
ideology?
'Cause it sounds like you have an answer for it.
I'm asking you, what makes ideology?
I just said people's ideas.
Blood and money.
You said what?
Blood and money.
Blood and money, okay. Murder, rape, pillage, right? If you are the conqueror, then it's your story.
Right?
That's history, his story. If you're the conqueror, it's your story, right?
So blood and money makes policy, right?
Well, yeah, but it's based on people's ideas, though. But yeah, that's how they can pass it. Blood and money, that's true.
So nations have ideas, right?
Right.
And how do they come with the final answer? Out of these nations.
Well, whoever has the
Right?
power. Whoever has the power.
What has the power?
Yeah, I know you're going right back to blood and money, right?
That's what it is.
Right. So the power is because I can make you do something. Right. So now let's see where it started for us as a nation. Read that again.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15.
Read 28 and 1 through 5.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So let's not forget, this is Moses speaking to the children of Israel. From God to Moses to the children of Israel. He said what?
To observe and to do all his commandments,
Said if we observe to do all his commandments, read.
which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
That's plain. But we don't read that. He said, I'll set you above high over what? Read it again. I don't want to put words to it.
I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Above all nations of the earth. That's very plain. He said, I'll set you above all nations on the earth. Read.
And all these blessings shall come on thee, and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
If we listen to the voice of the Lord thy God, we'll be above all nations on the earth. That's what the Lord promised us. But what happened? Verse 15 now.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15.
This is what he also promised.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God,
So if we don't do your rules, do the Lord's rules, read.
to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So all these consequences, all these punishments will come upon thee, right? Read.
Verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Because the brother Dominic said that we have to ask permission, or no, we choose to ask permission because we don't make no policies. Go to head and tail and lend and not lend.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, and verse 43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou...
Hey, so did you hear that? So Dominic, did you hear that? It said the stranger above thee shall get up above thee very high. Read.
And thou shalt come down very low.
And you Israelites will come down very low.
He shall lend to thee,
Said the stranger shall lend to thee,
and thou shalt not lend to him.
and thou shalt not lend to him.
He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
So now you have to ask yourself, any lending institution that's made up today, is it majority owned by us as a nation? And when I say nation, I'm saying the blacks, natives, and Latinos. because we are one nation. Is the majority owned by us, or is the majority owned by other nations? Other nations. So now, if this is true, that means we have fell into this. Hey, what's happening now, bro?
All right, now.
Hey, we have fell into this curse.
Yes, Lord.
Hey, we have fell into this curse, if that's true. Read on.
Verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee.
So now we're mentally destroyed. We've been destroyed as a people to where we don't even think that we could be on top. Like the brother Dominic said, we ask permission to do anything. That's crazy. Yeah. So when you ask, how come we're being shot in the streets? Read on.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder.
The reason why these punishments are on us is so it's a sign to see who the Israelites are. Just like today, we got the address to come to here, but we knew which place this was because you guys got a sign out that says Major League. Yeah. So we know, oh, that's Major League Barber.
So our sign is being laid down the street.
No, the curses. All of them that we're reading. So the first one that we brought out was we don't win. We have to what? Borrow. We're not on top of society. We're at the bottom of society. We can bring out some more. Go to 32.
Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look.
It said thy sons and thy daughters shall be given to another people. And what?
And thine eyes shall look, and fail with longing for them all the day long. And there shall be no might in thine hand.
I mean, we've all seen the different slavery movies, right? And that's not for the so-called black man, for the so-called Latino man as well.
Why do you think they show all that slavery stuff? They're trying to let you know like this out here?
Well, you know, it's something that has to come out in the earth.
Yeah, but
that's actually also another prophecy. Give me that. Truth shall spring out the earth. That's actually a prophecy. That's another prophecy. But they show it in all the different Hollywood movies. Now, when you dig deep into the history, right? When you decide to go on the World Wide Web and get information, now what are they doing? They're not even bringing that out to the young children. To the young children that's sitting around us, right? They're not finna get taught slavery in the school system. They didn't took that out the school system.
During this Black History Month, students around the nation are learning about icons of the civil rights movement. But beyond those lessons, a CBS News analysis found some major problems in the way that students are being taught about some very important moments in American history. Our national correspondent, Jerika Duncan, has been looking into this. And so, Jerika, we've been promoting your story all morning long. I'm very curious to find out what you all found out.
We learned a lot, and what we found out is that how you learn about topics like slavery and the civil rights movement really depends on where you live and the textbooks you're using. And some of the textbooks we looked at, there's information that may surprise you.
Is there a problem with how we teach American history in this country?
Yes.
Renowned scholar Dr. Ibram X. Kendi can't believe what students are learning about America's past.
Reviewing these texts closely, now I can see why so many students get to college and they're like, why didn't we learn this in high school? Because it isn't in these texts.
We asked Kendi, a CBS News contributor, to take a look at 4 textbooks used in public school classrooms. The first book, The American Pageant, is used to teach advanced placement history. The publisher of the book says more than 5 million students learn from it each year. We looked at the 16th edition of the book, published in 2016.
So here on page 346, it says, in the deeper South, many free blacks were mulattoes.
The term mulatto is a racist slur against biracial people.
The book also includes this map, referring to enslaved Africans in 1775 as immigrants, alongside the Dutch, the Scottish, and the German.
To refer to them, again, as immigrants insinuates that they chose to come, the African people who almost totally were forced to come and certainly did not want to come to the United States in chains.
Just to see if things have changed, we looked at the latest edition of the book published this year. The map is still there.
The assignment asked students to put a price on slaves.
What and how students learn about history is different everywhere and sometimes problematic.
The teacher, who is white, told them to write funny captions on images of freed slaves.
There are reports the teacher made black students act as slaves.
There is no national standard for what history is taught. Each state sets standards which outlines what students are expected to learn. CBS News took a look at the social studies standards for all 50 states and the District of Columbia. We found 7 states do not directly mention slavery, and 8 do not mention the civil rights movement. Only 2 states mention white supremacy, and 16 list states' rights as a cause of the Civil War, which Kendi says is a problem.
This was the term that the Confederate states, that later segregationists and even some slaveholders utilized to hide that they were really fighting for the rights as slaveholders.
Kevin Ellis is the chair of the Texas State Board of Education. About 10% of the nation's students attend a Texas public school. In 2018, the state changed its standards to teach slavery as the central cause of the Civil War, but it still mentions states' rights.
Should states' rights even be taught at all?
So I think even when you look at states' rights, it focused around slavery. And so what we're doing now is just being clear that those states' rights that the South was fighting over was states' rights for them to have slavery.
Kendi also took a look at this textbook, Texas History, which is adopted by the state to teach middle school social studies. It covers topics including slavery and the Civil War.
This is a picture, and the caption says, "Some U.S. settlers brought slaves to Texas to help work the fields and do chores." And, you know, I don't think we should describe slave labor as chores.
A few pages later, Kendi pointed out this image.
The caption for this picture says, "What characteristics of slave life does this image show?" Does this depict slavery?
If we were going to have a single picture that depicted slavery, it should be a picture that demonstrates terror and violence.
We also asked Ellis what he thought about the picture.
Well, I think one of the, as we go through the struggles and the injustices that the slaves went through, I think the important thing is not to do what was done in earlier times and make it sound like they were better off here than they were back in their.
But this picture doesn't look so bad. There's no marks on anyone's body, and this is supposed to represent enslaved people.
I think the point that's being made is the fact this was not a true representation of what slaves went through and the injustices that they went through. And I can't answer why that made it in that textbook. We have progressed in the past 5 years and 10 years and 20 years, and we still have more work to do. And I think this would be an example of that.
The publisher of that Texas history book, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, told CBS News in a statement that it appreciates and values Dr. Kendi's analysis of the textbook, and they are making intentional changes to the content in future editions. Cengage, the publisher of the American Pageant, said the authors work strenuously to provide an accurate, fair, and engrossing account of American history, and they are always striving to improve. They note the newest edition makes corrections and includes firsthand accounts from African Americans of the time.
So important to point out, though, that the publishers can make these changes, but it's up to the states to adopt them.
It's up to the states. And, it's funny because I talked to a girlfriend of mine, her daughter's in high school, and she just got an A in her U.S. history class, and I told her about this story, and she said, we have to teach them. It's up to the parents. And I think there is sort of this unsaid thing, even especially in Black communities, that you're going to learn it from your family and not necessarily rely on the school to do it, just because you look at these changes that they've made. This is in the last 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. It's very recent. Well, it's the most alarming thing you said in that story was that there were 7 states where slavery is not even mentioned.
Or civil rights. That's what I find so jaw-dropping. Yeah. And I think when you're a kid, you're reading the textbook, it doesn't occur to you to challenge it.
Right.
You need a story like this to let you know.
Yes.
And it's also unfortunate, I think, many times in the Black community, not really knowing our history.
Right.
I think that is a problem.
Well, if the schools aren't teaching it, sometimes it's hard to know it.
It's very, very difficult. Right, Trika, that was very informative. Thank you.
And they don't even teach slavery no more in that month. No. I got a 20-year-old son. 10
10 years ago when he was in 5th grade, he showed me in his history book that it said we came here voluntarily. What? And that was 10 years ago when he was in 5th grade. He's 20 now.
Voluntary?
So if you ask all the teenagers, you ask all the children, if they're being taught slavery in history at school, they're going to tell you no.
Hey, also, you know another point to that?
You got to show them yourself.
You know what's going on today? They trying to take it out of the history because it's offensive now.
Right.
They take slavery and what's going on out of the textbook because it's becoming offensive.
What's that? You say you think they should? Well, at the end of the day, is it not American history? It's American history. So if the class is called history or American history, talk about everything. Shouldn't it be taught? So the question is, how come they're not doing it? But read that, because he said, how come it's coming out in the movies? Read that.
The book of
it's
Psalms,
a prophecy.
The book of Psalms, chapter 85 and verse 11.
And I'm going to get your question, brother.
Truth shall spring out of the earth.
That's why, bro. Because truth shall spring out of the earth. Read.
All right. What happened prior to slavery?
What happened prior to slavery?
Yeah.
Which part? What are you saying? Right. So prior to slavery, we wasn't on this continent, first of all. Well, the natives and Latinos were. The natives and Latinos was on this continent.
More Africans?
Yes.
You believe that?
Oh, it's a documented fact.
So that's a yes, you believe that?
It's a documented fact.
That's a yes.
Yes.
Damn.
And unless you have proof otherwise. We got many historical books with the Englishman, the Dutchman, the Italian man, the Spanish explorer making memoirs and documents between each other about what really was going on. Not expecting us to ever get our hands on it or be able to read it. And the Bible actually records it. That what they call the lost 10 tribes, which is only the natives and Latinos, they came over to this side of the earth first. Now the thing is, when they came over to this side, what did they look like? That's the question. So was their hair as stringy as it is today? Was their complexion as light as it is today? No, they had more Negroid characteristics.
But I heard we didn't come over here both. I heard that we was already here.
You talking about from the beginning of civilization?
Yeah,
Read 2nd Esdras.
We were already here, wasn't we?
Let's see what happened.
The book.
Now, of course, this is if you believe in the Bible at all, of course.
The book.
I mean, if you don't believe in the Bible, then you're going to say, well, I have a different reference. But every reference that we look up and we read, we compare it to the Bible.
Yeah.
Oh, read that. And then I'm going to get your question, bro.
The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 13.
Pull that up. Archery, pull it up.
The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 13 and verse 40.
So, who's seen that movie, Conquest of Paradise?
It's been a lot more years.
1492. Anybody ever see that movie? It's actually a good flick. You should go look it up. Conquest of Paradise, 1492. In the beginning of the movie, it's talking about Christopher Colombo, otherwise known as Christopher Columbus. He was saying, hey, I need to travel over to this unknown land because we know the Indies are there. And the dude he was talking to said, oh, how do you know this information? He said, from the writings of Ezra.
Why did you wish to sail west?
To open a new route to Asia. Asia is the richest kingdom, the land of spices and gold. At the moment, there are only two ways of reaching it. By sea, sailing around the African continent. The journey takes a year. Or by land. But the Turks have closed this route to all Christians. There is a third way. By sailing west across the ocean sea.
The distance is unknown. It's said to be infinite.
Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands.
How can could you be so certain?
The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras.
Esdras is a Jew.
So what's worse?
2 minutes, and already you're a dead man.
For telling the truth?
Yes. We are burning people for less. The men you're about to confront.
To the writings he's speaking of. Read that.
The book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 13 and verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osee the king, whom Shalmaneser the king of Assyria led away captive. And he carried them over the water.
So through research in history, or through research prophecy in history, we figured out that the 10 tribes are what they're known as the Northern Kingdom, the Latinos and the natives. Read.
And he carried them over the water, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt.
Now, unless we don't believe the Bible, and we say the Bible is lying, it said what? Read again.
And go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt.
Where never mankind dwelt. That's what the Bible say. Read.
That they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
So now, because it just said we entered into the Euphrates, so the lie of the Bering Strait, they taught us that, they came through the Bering Strait.
For the Most High then showed,
read it now, read that part again.
That they might keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into the Euphrates.
So they didn't go through the Bering Strait. The scripture said they entered through the Euphrates. Read.
By the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood, till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Arsareth.
So it said the same region is called Arsareth. Has anybody ever heard the name Arsareth?
Right. He got a good answer over here.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get to it.
Systematic racism, that's why we get shot.
Oh, that's a part of it.
That's true.
Well, hey, guess what? That's a part of it. We're showing you. Okay. These are the curses.
Yeah, that's kind of right.
Wait, hold on. Wait. So you're saying black people are cursed? That's why they're getting killed?
Blacks, natives, Latinos.
You're saying they're cursed?
That's what the Bible says.
That's what the Bible says.
We're under punishment. We didn't come to America to have to live the American dream.
We're under punishment
for
in the Bible for what?
For not keeping the laws of God, for not keeping His commandments. There's more than 10. For not
then why
doing what He told us to do.
Die?
So that we can repent.
Well, okay, so if we repented, then how are we cursed?
No, so that we can repent. So you know how you hear Christ came and shed His blood, right?
Yeah.
And you hear, oh, now we have grace, right? So now you have to think about what is grace.
I'm still kind of lost.
You got Arsareth for me?
Yes, sir.
Read the word Arsareth. I'm going to show you, don't worry. I'm going to hit you something. So it said that we came to a land that no man has never dwelt. That land is called Arsareth. Read what Arsareth is.
Hey, so this is
now, of course, this is from the scholars. This ain't me saying it. This is from the scholars. Read.
The Jewish Encyclopedia, Arsareth. The name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of restoration, according to Esdras. What is it? I don't know that either. 14. Esdras 14.
Yeah, 13.
13. Verse 45. Columbus identified America with this land. This is out of the Jewish Encyclopedia.
So that's them saying that.
So if black people,
Columbus identified Arsareth as America. That's them saying that.
If black people and all people of color are cursed,
not all people of color.
Then if that's but you said natives and you said black people, Latinos, then what's the white man then? Since they perpetuated everything upon the people of color, are they cursed?
Oh, here, let's read that. Let's read their blessing.
There you go, Genesis.
Let's read their blessings. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out. Let's read their blessings. Remember, everything's in the Bible. I'm not going to give you my vain opinion. Let's read their blessings.
You're saying that
that's a great question.
You're saying they didn't keep the use of the covenants or.
So remember.
Neither did white people.
Remember, they wasn't giving it. So if you're at home, your daddy tells you, boy, bring your ass back to this house by 10 p.m. He go outside at 10:30. He see you and other people that's not of his house outside at 10:30. Who's he coming to punish?
That's a good sport analogy because I'm just you're speaking as if you know everybody's wrong.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll get that one next for you. Read that.
You want me to start at 25:25? You want me to go straight to Esau?
Yeah, go to 25:25.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 25 and verse. I start at 21.
So who knows the story of Jacob and Esau? Anybody? Jacob and Esau, the story? Okay, read it.
The book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife.
So this is for you, bro. This gonna answer your question. Okay. Okay, all praises.
Because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
First thing you want to realize, she was told 2 nations are in her womb. Read.
And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
2 different type of people. They're going to come out as twins. But they're 2 different nations, 2 different people. Read.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people.
Read.
And the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment.
There's a distinction right there. The first one came out red and hairy all over. Read.
And they called his name Esau.
His name was Esau. Read.
And after that he came out, and after that came his brother out. And his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And
then the brother's name was Jacob. The blacks, natives, and Latinos come from the seed of Jacob. The so-called white man comes from the seed of Esau. Go to where his name was changed to Edom. 28.
Should've known the difference between wrong and right. All of your doings, all of your shame. It's all on you, you're the one to blame. Hey. You lit the match that started this fire. You pay the price when the flames get high. Should've turned back when you had the chance, but you sold your soul for a devil's dance. When the flames that high, you're gonna get burned. You done forgot the lessons you learned. Deep in trouble, nowhere to turn. When the flames that high, you're gonna get burned.
The book of Genesis, chapter 25 and verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom.
So Esau's name was changed to Edom.
if you look up the etymology of Edom, it's a Hebrew word. Edom means red. And the Hebrew Bible relates to the name of its founder, Esau, the elder son, right? It's also a word which Idumea comes from. If you know who the Idumeans is, then you can put it all together. Idumean, Edom, Esau, the so-called white man, the Roman, the Greek, the Idumeans. Their ancient civilization was the civilization of Idumea. Yeah. Simple, right? So now let's get to the point. Now we're gonna read his blessing.
The book of Genesis, chapter 27.
Now we're gonna read the Idumean's blessing. Read.
The book of Genesis, chapter 27 and verse 38. And Esau said,
remember we read Jacob's blessing. His blessing would be that he would be above all nations if he kept the laws of God, right?
The book of Genesis, chapter 25 and verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father?
27:38, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, read.
Bless me, even me also, O my father.
So we're in Genesis 27:38.
And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
And so the first part of his blessing is the dwelling should be the fatness of the earth, the best places of the earth. Read.
And of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live.
And by thy sword shalt thou live. The brother Dominic mentioned blood and money. Who sheds the most blood on the earth? By thy sword you shall live. Read.
And shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
So that actually happened in the past, in the times of the kings. At one point we were ruling. We had Edom in servitude.
Okay, so
they came back and started ruling. Why? Because we kept failing to break the laws. Kept failing to keep the laws, excuse me. Every time we break the laws, we go into captivity.
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission, minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold, from Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are how men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.